Good morning, dear viewer. This is the Morning Scoop. The Morning Scoop comes to you every Tuesday morning, and as you know, we talk about various issues. Today we are taking a different conversation. We're just going to look at that very important element, midwifery. Midwifery, we know them as midwives. They got quite a bit of a task. They're quite reliable. They are people who stand between life and death in those very critical moments. And there are a lot of issues that I grapple with myself. You see, like when there is, when mothers are going to have babies, there are a lot of things that are defined as opportunistic, and they tend to threaten life or lives. So midwives come in handy, and they manage that, and we get babies all over. We call them bouncing ones, boys and girls. We thank God for them, and today I have one of them. She is the vice chair, the Midwives Association of Kenya. I hope I'm calling it right. Yeah. Then she'll be able to introduce herself properly, and then we'll go into the conversation. More on this show, we're going to look at a raft of issues, including blood pressure, women who are having issues with blood pressure, some organs are failing, and there's a baby coming out, a lot of things. There's a lot of, you may never know that it's usually very critical when babies are coming. In very rare cases where I just find a woman has given birth, but in most cases, there are issues. And the biggest manager of all those is here. Good morning, madam.
Good morning to you. I'm doing well.
Yes.
We thank God.
Yes.
Yes.
Midwives.
Yes.
Are those wives in the middle? Or why are they called midwives?
Yeah, they are called wives in the middle. Yeah. Let me start with my name. I'm Catherine Shienji. I'm the Vice Chair, Midwives Association of Kenya. I am a nurse and midwife by profession. I work in Kakamega County, in Shinyalo Sub-County. I am proud to be a midwife because this is a profession I have carried on for quite some time, over 20 years working as a midwife. So when you're talking about a midwife, it's that trained professional who has been given the knowledge and the skill to be able to handle a pregnant woman from the time of conception. In fact, it's before conception, that is preconception, to the time of conception until childbirth, and even after the delivery, the birth of the baby, they are supposed to take care of this mother and their children and help them adapt to the new child, to the new changes. So they are midwives who are supposed to be there. So these are trained persons.
Okay. We usually begin with a proverb.
Yes.
I want to give you one. To him who never traveled, a small garden is a forest.
Yes. You know, if you've never traveled, you look like a small garden or a small thing and think that it's a very big thing. Think that it's a forest. You can be, if you have never gone around and you've never seen the so many deliveries midwives are conducting every day, you will think that they're not doing much. Or with the few deliveries you have seen them doing, you feel that they're not doing much. But in reality, the midwives are doing a lot in this country to ensure that the life of the mother and the baby is well taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you see, Kenya has made strides in organizing and supporting midwives.
Yes.
I think it was 2012 when the policy came into effect. I just want you to elaborate for the viewer. Just put us into context. Officially, Midwives Association, your mandate, and then your duty, and your structures, yes, and how you are distributed nationally.
Yeah. Yeah, Midwives Association is an association that is supporting the midwives. It came into an association in 2016, officially inaugurated and registered by the society in Kenya. We are also subscribing to the International Confederation of the Midwife, what we are calling ICM. Our mandate is to support the midwives, advocate for their rights, advocate for the midwives, the good working environment, support them. We are also ensuring that the outcome of the mother and the baby, it is good. And also we are also ensuring that the quality of care, it is there in all places where our mothers go and give birth. So that is basically the role of this association. And also we are also ensuring that this midwife gets the knowledge, updates, innovations. We usually share, especially during our conferences and any other time, any updates, things that are keep on changing. What we used to practice long time ago is not what we are practicing now.
Yes.
There are so many even drugs that have come in place. So when we see something that is improving the life of the mother and the baby, then the midwives also come in handy to ensure that this information, the guidelines, are disseminated up to the lower midwife who is practicing.
Yes.
Currently, we have been running and fighting the number of so many mothers who are dying because of postpartum hemorrhage. So we have been holding webinars, online trainings and mentorship or to all the midwives on how to be able to reduce the number of postpartum hemorrhage in our mothers.
Yes.
So we also hold education sessions. Since we came in, we have been having branches not in all counties. We started with around 15 counties where we have branches, but as we speak now, we are almost 30 branches all over this country.
Okay.
In Mombasa, in Makueni, in Nyeri. We launched a branch in Nyeri the other day, especially during this time. We launched a branch in Makueni. We launched a branch we have a branch in Kakamega, Bungoma. Okay. A few counties are the ones that have not gotten fully fledged branches, but we have midwives in those branches practicing. Okay. Yes.
So when you just finish a campaign.
Yes, okay? Yes.
So when there is an association, a branch of midwives, it means midwives within that county will report to that branch office, right?
Yes.
And so how are they distributed to the grassroots? I'm imagining that according to national policy on healthcare, primary healthcare, it starts at level 2, level 3.
Yes.
So do we have midwives at that level?
Yes.
Or below?
We have midwives at that level, from level 2 to all the levels, level 3 up to level 6. The person who is really in charge of distributing the midwives up to all those levels is the government.
Okay.
That is through the organization of the government. So they ensure that we have midwives who have been distributed up to the lower level. Our curriculum as per now, we don't have just trained midwives, basic who are just coming in to train midwifery. We have a training that caters for all the midwives and the nurses. So we ensure that somebody who has been trained in that skill, they reach up to the lower level. However, we have made strides even as we speak. We have schools that have started training plain midwifery. We have schools that are doing upgrading in midwifery alone. So those are the strides we have made, and ensure that these trained midwives are even up to the grassroots. Yes. Okay. We still have those even midwives who have retired. They are retired, yes, but they are not tired. They can be able still to offer this service to the mother and the baby, even up to the community level. When you guys had a campaign, yes,
when were you talking about? As in, what was it about?
Yeah.
Are you able to just give us a summary of it?
Actually, our campaign this year was the midwife in times of crisis. We realized that the midwife is needed all the times we are in a crisis. Let's say in humanitarian crisis, whereby you find we have floods, we have fires, we have displacements, we have the wars. The midwife is always there, because in times of crisis, the delivery will not stop. The baby will not wait until this crisis is over. In times of crisis, the mothers will not stop also conceiving. The pregnancies will also come in.
Yes.
So the midwife, we are looking at this midwife in times of crisis, when we have people who have been displaced, when we have outbreak of diseases. You need this midwife in those times. And what is our role? To ensure that the mother goes through this process, the labor and the delivery, up to the end in a good way, and the outcome is also very good. Because we find that when they are displaced, they may not even be able to follow up on their clinics. They will not even, those who are supposed to get family planning, they will not follow up. Post-delivery, they will have challenges because of the trauma maybe they have gone through. Some of them will develop even mental disorders post-delivery. And we will also expect these women to be also supported, plus their babies after delivery.
Yes.
And even be given family planning. So we are looking at these midwives. What is our role during this time? And we realize that 90% of the work during a crisis is done by the midwife. Before even you look for the doctor and even refer this client to the next level of management, you need this midwife to be able even to say this one can go on through as a normal delivery, and this one can be supported by either referring to the next level. Yes. For further support. So that was our campaign this year, which was a climax yesterday, which we call an International Day for the Midwife. We celebrated all over the country.
Yes. In
all our branches, even in counties where we didn't have branches. We saw midwives celebrating the day for the midwife, because we know we have a critical role in ensuring that the life of the mother and the baby, it is well taken care of in times of crisis.
I wish you were celebrating it today, so that we also celebrate it with Mother's Day. Because today is supposed to be Mother's Day.
Today is supposed to be Mother's Day. We have
or is it Mother's Day?
We will not stop celebrating the midwife. In fact, we still celebrating the midwife, because as we finish celebrating the midwives, yes, we are again starting to celebrate the nurse. So we are starting the celebrations for the nurse again for the whole week.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yes. I want you to just, before we go to the challenges you guys are facing, and can you differentiate for us there is a theater nurse, then there is a midwife nurse. What is the difference? Can one be the other?
There is, yes, a midwife specifically trained to support the mothers during labor and delivery and prenatally.
Yes.
And even after. We have now the theater nurse. They go through specific training on how to support the services that take place in a theater. They go through at least a 1-year training, upgrading, that is an extra training. This is a nurse who was qualified, but she wants to specialize in theater nursing. So she will go in for an extra training, so that she can be able to know how to handle cases that eventually end up in theater, either through deliveries or any other surgery that will take place. So this is just a preparation for this nurse.
So these two people are different?
Yes.
You cannot be one doing all these two.
You cannot be one doing all these two, but at times in places where we have a shortage, you will find even this theater nurse can also fall back into becoming a midwife. Maybe she was initially trained as a nurse midwife, so she can quickly also fall back and even conduct a delivery. She can also fall back and take care of this mother. But when it comes to matters of theater, then she has a special training to handle those cases.
I'm experienced in some way with the way nurses behave. In those very rural setups, even before you go to level 2, level 3, level 4, you still have nurses there. You get a facility with 2 or 3 nurses, and it doesn't even have a clinical officer. These nurses are handling everything.
Yes.
So how different are those nurses from these nurses from? Okay, how are they trained?
They go through the same training. Any nurse will go through all the training.
Yes.
That's why you find that we have the component of Kenya registered or a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and Midwifery.
Yes.
Or we have the Kenya registered community health nurse. This is a nurse who can work in any setup. That's why you find in health centers and even in mostly dispensaries, you will get the nurses alone now in that health center, a setup. That means this nurse is an all-round person. She's supposed to be seeing the client, clerking them and diagnosing, giving them treatment, seeing the mothers who are coming in for antenatal care, family planning. She can still, even in all our dispensaries, we have an area whereby they can still also conduct deliveries, help mothers give birth. So this is a nurse who has been trained and all round. That's why you are seeing only registered or nurses in dispensaries taking care of the health of that client, and even at times we go up to the community, so that we are taking services closer to the clients and looking for those who have been who have defaulted the care, or who have not been able to come to the facility because of the distances or because of one reason or another. So you find this nurse midwife will go even up to the community to offer the services. These are the nurses who will go to the community and give them the health education, so that the community can be enlightened to know what is it that they are supposed to do right for them to stay healthy.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are some challenges I want you to address. The first one, despite the development, advancement in policy, you guys have an association. You just talked about it's about 9 years old or 8 years old.
Yes.
Manchester, the policy is much older, like 12 years. But then there are some issues that you guys are grappling. I would like you to just tell us a bit of what is it that you guys are struggling with, like challenges. I'll give you two. The first one is, how do you communicate to the rurals? That's because there is the same rural where we have one nurse doing hospital activity is in a Luya community where we have a perception that our cultural way of doing things is better than Wazungu. So there are things which the traditional way and then the modern way, then you guys are also struggling with management, structural management, because you are not in the 47 counties. So those are the issues I would like you to tell the viewer how you guys are managing, among other challenges that you guys are working up against.
Okay, thank you so much. We are still battling with management, especially in the rural areas. We know that we have some community have cultural beliefs. They have religious beliefs that if they are sick, the mother is supposed not to attend the hospital, or this woman is strong enough to deliver at home the way their mothers and their grandmothers used to deliver in the home. Those are some of the challenges we are still battling with in the community. However, we are enlightening them, telling them the reasons as to why we want this woman, especially to start the antenatal clinic early enough, so that they can be able to be given supplements, to be taken care of, try to identify if they have any condition that could be a threat to their lives. We are encouraging them to bring these mothers to the facility early enough, so that they can be able to be managed. We are also taking the service to the community, just as I said. because we see their community, there are people who are not, they look at the distance and they feel like going to the facility as early as this, I will make several visits to this facility. So we are encouraged, we are also taking this service closer to them. However, you know, when now you are taking a service closer to the community, it means you have the numbers of ensuring that there is services going on in the facility, and now there are services you are taking to the community. So we still have a problem with the shortage of the midwives, yes, and even the nurses. We have a great shortage because the numbers we are having, this is a nurse midwife who is supposed to be handling the clients all round. And you find there are two. In the event that one person is sick, it means this midwife or nurse is alone on duty. So, yeah, so they become overwhelmed. And when they become overwhelmed, you find that they may not be able to offer the quality care that we expect them to offer to this client. So as an association, we are advocating that they employ more nurses and midwives. Okay. And as they're employing more nurses and midwives, we can be able to handle so many challenges that we are seeing arising from the community, yes, and even at the facility level.
Okay.
Yes.
You see, there is the cultural belief,
yes,
towards childbirth.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is traditional midwives.
Yes.
Those ones never went to any school, but they'll tell you whether it's a boy or a girl. That's a gift, right?
Yes.
So, how are you incorporating them, their expertise, or you are facing them out? Because they've held communities and they've nurtured babies. Way before we had something strange called antenatal, we had these women taking care of babies and childbirth. Okay, and our setup, our perception has always included them. But now the hospital setup and the modern midwifery is coming in, but then we are grappling with that. How are we supposed to transition, abandon those traditional beliefs and attitudes towards childbirth? For example, if the mother got twins, you see, within that traditional setup, there are things that are supposed to be done to those babies, you see. But then the modern way is different. So I just wanted to just talk a bit about that.
You know, we are living in a culture and beliefs, tradition beliefs, that even as a midwife you cannot fully ignore. Because there are traditional beliefs that if you go against a belief or a culture in a certain community, the community will gang against you. So you will now, it means as a midwife, you'll have to ensure that the community in their beliefs or culture, they'll have to buy in what you are offering as a midwife. We still have the community, the traditional birth attendants, the TBAs.
They actually call community birth attendants.
They are traditional birth attendants.
Traditional birth attendants. Not midwives.
They are not midwives. Okay. They never went to any school, but because of the experience, they have been delivering mothers in the community. Yes. And even examining them when they are still in the community during antenatal. We are facing this out. In fact, most of the counties are facing out the traditional birth attendants, not really facing them out. We are now incorporating them in the system, and now we are now labeling them as traditional birth companions. We want them now, because of the role they are playing and the trust the mother has on them, we want them to come on board and now be companions to these mothers and escort them to the facilities and ensure that they are with them. We allow them to be with them even during the labor and the delivery process. They are companions to these mothers to support them. But we are not encouraging them now to deliver them at home, because of the so many complications that can occur during delivery. We are expecting that labor, it's normal. Actually, labor and delivery is a process that we are expecting to go normally.
Okay.
We don't expect us to have complications. However, complications may arise. Unforeseen complications, either to mothers who are at risk or to mothers who are not at risk. That's why we are encouraging them, instead of supporting these mothers to give birth at home and in the community, we are encouraging them to bring to the facility. We have those who deliver, mothers who give birth to twins. Not only twins, triplets. We have seen even them, some giving birth to even quadruplets, isn't it? So we ensure that we are speaking to this community. We are speaking to the family. And it is good with the technology that is there with the ultrasound and diagnosing of the twins or multiple pregnancies. We can be able to know it early enough and help the family to accept, to come to terms with the number of babies they are going to receive. So we ensure that we do counseling before the birth of this baby.
Okay.
We are ensuring that we counsel them so that they can now accept and come to terms and find a way to see how to go around their beliefs and the number of babies they have received.
Because, you see, modern technology gives us knowledge.
Yes.
What babies, how many babies we are carrying,
how many
what
babies,
gender
yes,
are they.
Yes.
And then there are still some mothers who believe traditional way is better than modern. Number one. Number two, traditional birth attendants are more important to them, maybe because of a long-term relationship they've had. So, what message do you have for this group?
Yeah, the message we have for this group is we are encouraging them because of the relationship they have with the mothers, they be their companions. A companion can be a relative, or if the mother decides it's a traditional birth companion, they can be their companion so that they can also support them during this process. Let them bring these mothers to escort them to the facilities so that they can benefit from the so many services that we offer to these mothers when they are pregnant and during childbirth, so that they can be able to walk with them this journey. We all know that pregnancy is a journey, and so many women take this journey in different ways. I can take it normally and I'll go through this process well, but there are those who will take this journey in an abnormal way, and because of the so many hormonal changes, the changes in their bodies, in their shapes, in their likes and dislikes, some women take these as a very difficult journey. So we need to support this woman, especially during pregnancy and childbirth, so that they can cope with the so many changes that will occur to them, especially the hormonal changes, the mood swings, and the likes and dislikes of foods. You find some of them even have problems with the pregnancies. So we need to work with them and support them during this process.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, there is maybe one of the reasons why mothers prefer traditional attendants is because they may want to give birth in a specific environment.
Yeah.
They think that hospital setup sometimes is poor delivery conditions. So they don't want to go to that poor condition. They want the comfort of their home, a place where they are comfortable. And that is just a few, but the majority will just dislike the hospital. Maybe when they went to a hospital at some point, a nurse called her a name that she didn't like, so she doesn't like the hospital setup. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, yes, mothers who just dislike the hospital, and also because of previous experience, and some even don't have the previous experience, but they have had a lot of rumors and maybe misconception.
Well, experience by association.
Yeah, so that's why we are encouraging them to come to the hospital. And when they come to the hospital, we try to demystify some of the myths and misconception. One, we will even take them to the labor wards so that they can see the environment we are expecting them to come and give birth from. So they will be able to walk around and see the layout of the hospital, and especially our labor wards. They'll be able to see what is it that can be done. And most of our labor wards have developed mechanisms whereby we have privacy for these clients. Even if it's a big one where we have several clients in the same room, you find that we have developed mechanisms to ensure that every patient has her own privacy during this process. Okay. We ensure that it is a warm environment. And if it is a small facility, mostly they just have one labor ward and maybe with one bed, and there is a lot of privacy that is given. We introduce them even to the midwives who will take care of them. Okay. Ensure that they know whom are they expecting to meet. Ensure that they create a rapport. They know this midwife. So that they can be able to interact with them and support them. We are expecting that during the processes, they can also be able to be given even a cup of tea post-delivery.
You see, in a private hospital setup,
yeah,
all of what you're saying, there is an investment that has taken care of that.
Yes.
But in public sector, we have issues where all these women are crammed in one room. Each one is singing in their tone, the altos, the sopranos, mostly the altos and sopranos, very minimal basses. So they're singing their song as they wait for the babies. They're going through the pain in a group together. Now, that is maybe something which we need to talk to the community about.
Yes. I know some private hospitals are good at the privacy, and even as we are speaking, most government institutions are also embracing the privacy. Apart from the challenges with the resources, maybe to put in place things that are supposed to be put in place, but we are encouraging most public facilities also to ensure that there is privacy. Okay. Whereby even if they are not able to get a single room, we can also be able to put curtains to partition this room so that I'm not able to see what is happening on the next bed. Okay. Yes.
You see, then there is, on the private hospital setup, they've introduced, and this is something happening around the world.
Yeah.
Rooming in, where as soon as a mother delivers, she's given the baby. And she goes along with the baby. Bonding begins at that stage. But then in public setup, a baby stays in a different room for like 3-4 days.
Ideally, even in public facilities, we are also encouraging room in. We are not encouraging the baby after delivery to be put somewhere else for 2-3 days or even hours, because we are expecting immediately this baby is delivered or born, should be with the mother. Even as you are doing anything else, cleaning the mother, ensuring that she's comfortable, she needs to hold her child. So that is what we are really encouraging. Okay. When you see a baby has been put aside for 2-3 days, could be this baby was born with maybe a complication that needs further management. So maybe they are put in a different room where they are managed. But if a baby was born and this baby is well, we encourage the mother and the baby to stay together. Okay. We have even removed most of the extra cots that used to be in the wards, that the baby should stay on a different cot and the mother. We expect them to be together. On the same bed. Yes.
Let's talk about mortality. You see, high mortality rates, research shows high mortality rates happen during weekends and public holidays. And when you guys are having Mother's Day, you see, Midwife's Day, you see, Madaraka Day, that's when we have a lot of mortality. Mothers taken to labor at that time, they're isolated, no one is to take care of them, and most of them lose lives. Have you guys noticed that kind of thing? Yeah, well, it's a research in the cloud. It has not landed here.
Yeah, I want to accept that research finding. That we have also realized that most mothers' mortalities are occur during holidays, during weekends, during the change of shifts, that is where you see most of those mortalities occurring. And we realize that during shifts changing, maybe there are few people who are on duty. You realize during weekends or public holidays, there are few midwives on duty. So you find that maybe the one midwife who remained is like overwhelmed. And also, apart from the midwives being few, you'll find that during weekends and holidays, most of our clients believe that the hospitals are not functioning well. So they tend to stay with these mothers at home, and by the time they are coming to the facility, they have seen a complication. During holidays and weekends, most of the even level 2s are not like working, because they work during Mondays to Fridays, and weekends they are not working.
On Saturday and Sunday, please don't
the dispensaries are not working, but the health centers are working. And then you find most people are like taking a break over the weekends. And then you find a few people are remaining on duty. So when the community learns that this dispensary is not working on Saturday and Sunday, and it's the only one that is near them, so they decide to sit at home and wait for a day that they are working. And in the process, by the time they're making a decision to bring this client to the facility, it is late.
You see,
so this is not just...
you see, it's not just the dispensary. You see, this county referral hospital, let me just point at Bungoma Referral Hospital. I've been there, I was there on Saturday. Okay? I was unwell. I went there on Saturday morning. And it's a Saturday. So I had to go to a private hospital for treatment. You get? Now, yesterday, no, 2 days ago, a Sunday. It is a Sunday, a working day for any other in life-saving institution. Like for you go in a private hospital, a Sunday, it's packed. But our referral hospital is not. Minimal services are reduced. Why do we have this belief that interventions start on Monday and end on Friday? On Saturday and Sunday, please don't get sick.
That is a belief, but ideally all facilities should be, especially a level 5-6 hospital, like our referral hospital here, Bungoma, should be able to function well in 24/7. And when doing staffing, we are expecting that in all those times we should have the right number of midwives and even healthcare professionals covering all these times. However, the way I said, we have a challenge with the workforce, the numbers. You see, everywhere, not only in Bungoma, we have a shortage and even a crisis in the number of midwives in every facility. Not only the referrals. That's why the level 2s are only having 2. But ideally, they're supposed to be around, according to World Health Organization. A level 2 hospital should have at least 5 nurses. But you see, there are only 2. Now, when it comes to labor ward, every pregnant mother going through the delivery birth process should be having at least, on the minimum, 2 midwives. But what do we get in our setups? We find that there are only like 2 covering the whole shift. So the shortages are the ones that you see transiting into even the holidays and the weekends.
And you see, they also have to rest.
And they also,
they'll be fatigued.
Yes, so they also have to rest. When you look at a night shift, you are expecting like 4 midwives per night shift, but you are getting 2. So you find that...
Or maybe none.
Or 1. At most 1, if it's working 24 hours. Or in some facilities you find we have 1 midwife covering day and doing a night call. So these midwives and the nurses are fatigued, and they also need to rest. That's why you see on weekends and weekdays we have low number of staffs working, because they have been working from Monday. They also need to rest so that they can continue. However, that is not a reason as to why the services should go. It is my prayer that the county governments should be able to employ enough healthcare professionals so that they can fully cover the weekends and the holidays and the change of shifts, so that we can reduce the maternal mortality cases that we are seeing are on the rise every day. We thought we were doing well, but according to the latest research, we are also not doing well. So we are expecting the county governments to employ more, so that the midwives and the trained midwives can also be there to support this man.
How many members do you have in your association?
As per now, we have close to 1,000 members.
That's nationwide?
Nationwide, yes.
Those are very small numbers.
That's a small number.
Compared to how many babies are born every day?
Yeah, we have 1,000 years, and I know this week we have also recruited more members because of the campaign. We are expecting that all the midwives can be members of the Midwifery Association.
So you're saying some members are not?
Yes.
Or not all midwives are members of the association?
Not all midwives are members of the association.
How many midwives do we have in Kenya? Or you don't have those numbers?
I may not have the exact numbers, but we have, I'm not very sure. Yeah.
How many babies are born per day in Kenya?
That is a big number, close to 1,000 babies.
Okay, so we assume that every childbirth is supposed to be attended to by a different midwife.
Yes, at least 2 midwives.
At least 2 midwives.
Yes.
And if we have, let's assume it's 10,000 babies per day.
Yeah.
It means we need 20,000 midwives.
Midwives, yes.
In Kenya, on duty on that day.
Yes.
How are they paying for their services now that once upon a time we told Linda Mama goodbye?
Yeah, when we told Linda Mama goodbye, SHA came in, and most of our mothers' families, we are encouraging them to register with SHA. Once you register, they are catered for during delivery. So the SHA is paying.
Is SHA paying or is planning to pay?
Because it's paying.
Let's assume 1,000 deliveries per day. SHA is paying everything.
SHA is paying everything.
At what rate?
It's paying at 10,000 per delivery.
Okay.
And I think in a setup where maybe they are done cesarean section, they pay more. But standard cutting across is 10,000 per delivery in a hospital. We have the level 2s and 3s, that is the dispensary and health centers. They are also paying for the deliveries. But then we are expecting the clients to register with the SHA.
So are they prompt? Like when you go there, you put an ID number.
Yes.
SHA will recognize that Mother A has come to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. How about postpartum hemorrhage and delayed newborn management? You see, sometimes a baby will take forever to come, and the mother is bleeding. I want you to put it in context and then give us preventable measures. Okay.
Postpartum hemorrhage has been a #1 killer to the mothers post-delivery. And we have been having a campaign, even as Midwives Association of Kenya, on how to reduce the postpartum hemorrhages that we are getting in most of our mothers. And post-delivery, we have ways to manage this mother, and so that they can reduce the chances of them getting postpartum hemorrhage. We have an introduction of a new drug, heat-stable carbetocin. Heat-stable carbetocin, it's a wonder drug when it comes to prevention of postpartum hemorrhage in mothers post-delivery. We still have other ways of managing postpartum hemorrhage by use of drugs like oxytocin, which are still in the market. However, it is our wish that we be able to meet this mother before delivery, so that we can rule out any chances of them developing postpartum hemorrhage, because this comes because of so many things. It can come because of either a tear, it can come because of maybe the placenta has retained, and all those things we package them together and ensure that we are able to prevent the postpartum hemorrhage. We are seeing, as per now, the numbers are reducing. Since we started the campaign of reducing postpartum
When
hemorrhage.
you talk about numbers are reducing, what were the numbers and what are the numbers?
I may not have the real figures, but then what we are seeing according to the reports, the number of postpartum hemorrhage cases have gone down.
Okay.
Yes.
We have mothers who have, and you see, like mothers in their late 30s and early 40s, maybe 30s and 40s, early 40s, who are still making babies, but they have less than 3 kids. They are so much in danger of fibroids. Now, they sometimes obstruct, they go through what we call obstructed labor. They cause bleeding. Yeah. So when a mother has fibroids, okay, what is the duty of a midwife? Or what, in such a case, how do you manage that kind of patient?
Yeah, when a mother has fibroids, let's say before delivery, we are expecting that we'll be able to identify this problem early enough so that we can guide this woman if she really wants a child and on how to go about this labor, this pregnancy. It's not only now the role of the midwife, it will be a multi-sectoral approach. You will need a gynecologist so that they can be able to examine and find the extent of these fibroids. In the event that this woman gets pregnant and it is obstructing the baby, how is this baby going to survive in that environment? Will this baby reach term? Will they be able to maybe deliver early enough? Will she deliver in a normal way, or will she go through maybe a cesarean section? But that's why I'm saying we'll need a multi-sectoral approach. You will need a gynecologist on board, and now you will look at this woman as a woman of high risk. This is a woman who has a tendency of bleeding. This is a woman who has a tendency of having obstructed labor. So you will need to approach this woman in a wholesome way and prepare her for the outcome. And continue monitoring her closely, because at times when a mother has fibroids and she's also having a baby, the fibroids tend also to grow as the baby is also growing. So you find the space is limited for the child.
You see, so most fibroids, not most, some experiences, a mother's womb, fibroids are outside.
Yeah.
So those ones are okay.
Yeah.
But then there are those inside.
Inside, yes, yes.
Now, that's when you do emergency cesarean, right?
That's when we do not really emergency cesarean, because if you know that a mother has fibroids that are also growing and the baby is growing, you will not wait to do an emergency cesarean section. You will plan for this cesarean section.
An elective.
An elective, yes. And even before this mother conceives, we are expecting that a woman with fibroids should be able to visit the hospital so that they can look at the extent of these fibroids. And there are procedures that can be performed to ensure that even they remove the fibroids so that they can have space now for the baby before now allowing her to conceive. So that is what we are calling preconception care. She needs to be taken care of before now conception.
That is an enlightened woman.
Yeah, that's an enlightened woman.
The bulk of our women are not enlightened. And she will realize after 6 months that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know the difference between fibroids
and the pregnancy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we are urging them to come early enough. Because if you diagnose fibroids in early pregnancy, with the technology that is there, you can be able to say this one is a baby, but inside this uterus, we have something else. And this could be a fibroid. So you can diagnose early and ensure that now you closely follow up this woman.
Yes.
Not like any other woman who is pregnant. You'll closely follow her up and monitor the way the fibroids are growing and how the baby is growing, and look at the risks that these fibroids are now posing to the mother and even to the baby.
There is excessive bleeding.
Yes.
And then there's preterm babies.
Yeah.
When you are a midwife in such a setup, with such a client, you're calling them client, what is your first, what is the first response, first interventions will be what?
First interventions, if there's excessive bleeding, first I will want to know, where is this bleeding coming from as a midwife? And as I'm looking at the source of this bleeding, I need to find a way to arrest the bleeding. Is it possible for this bleeding to be arrested at this gestation? And look at the life of this baby. Is the baby still alive? Is this a child who is viable? If we are able to control the bleeding and the baby, allow the baby also to grow in my setup, then I will also need also to seek a second or a third opinion on how best to manage this mother. But for a beginning, I need to find out, where is this bleeding coming from? How is the viability of this baby? And how is the state of the mother? These are the ones that will help me make any decision.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where referrals come in.
That's where referrals come in.
We have HIV positive mothers.
Yeah.
And you yourself, you are also at risk as a midwife. And you're managing this patient, she's HIV positive. And then there is the risk of the baby who is not HIV positive in her womb. But then there is, to prevent mother-child transmission, there is also the midwife. Yeah. So how do we manage that kind of delicate situation?
Midwives have been trained, especially when we had so many at the beginning of the HIV infection. Most of them were trained on how best to handle mothers who are coming in who are HIV positive. We protect ourselves. We find a way to protect ourselves, even as you are handling these clients. This is not like where COVID, where you used to run away. Right now, we are not running away from these clients, but we find a way of handling these clients in a safe way, so that you are not getting the infection from the client. However, when you look at the mode of infection of HIV, you'll find that it is not more of from the client to the service provider. It is from so many other ways you can get the infection.
Yes.
So as a midwife, you find a way to protect yourself.
So the primary focus is to manage to prevent mother-child transmission.
Yeah, so our primary focus is to prevent mother-child transmission. At the same time, use what we call infection prevention measures, so that you are not contacting now the HIV from the mother to your service provider. So we focus on prevention of mother-to-child transmission. And there are so many interventions that are put in place. Once the mother is found to be positive, and she's also pregnant, she is counseled and started on ART. ARVs, yes. And that means the viral load will now go down. This will prevent the mother-to-child transmission. And this is a woman, we encourage her to deliver from hospital, because in the hospital we have a way of delivering this baby also to prevent the infection during childbirth from the mother to the baby. And then also we teach them on matters breastfeeding, because those are the ways which can infect the baby, either in utero or during childbirth or during breastfeeding. So we counsel this mother and educate her on the modes of transmission and how we are breaking this transmission cycle. Yes.
You see, you guys have invented very huge words. There is one word called eclampsia. So talk to us about pre-eclampsia and eclampsia. And then I also want to combine that with anemic pregnancies, a mother with not enough blood.
Okay. Pre-eclampsia. This is a condition that occurs in pregnancy, characterized with high blood pressures, swelling of the legs, what we are calling edema of the lower limbs, and you find that they have also proteinuria in urine.
You see, those are big words.
That's what I'm saying. It's characterized. That's how now we come to say this woman is having pre-eclampsia. It usually comes in pregnancy, a high blood pressure that develops because of pregnancy. when a woman develops high blood pressure during pregnancy, we would want to know if these other signs are coming in. She could be a hypertensive. So with hypertension alone is different from preeclampsia. But in preeclampsia, you find when you check the urine, it has what we call proteins. And when you check, the limbs are also swollen. So those are the ones we are talking of as preeclampsia. They usually develop this condition from the first trimester. Once they go to the second trimester, like 28 weeks and above.
It disappears.
No, it is there. And then this preeclampsia will disappear mostly when this woman has delivered. The pressures will go down, the proteinuria will go. But then during pregnancy, we monitor them closely. They are put on treatment and management to ensure that we are able to control the high blood pressures, so that the baby can be able to thrive and survive in their uterus. With the high blood pressures, the babies tend not to grow well or thrive well in the uterus. So our aim is to reduce the high blood pressures so that the baby can be able to survive, and also for the well-being of this mother. You know what happens with the high blood pressure? She can easily develop the stroke.
Yes.
Yeah, she can also develop other complications. The kidneys can fail. So we want to reduce these high blood pressures in pregnancy. But if not well taken care of during pregnancy, because this is a woman we need to monitor closely. Today the blood pressure will be low, tomorrow it is high, the next day it is so high. So you need to bring these blood pressures down. But if you don't take good care of this woman, these are the women who eventually develop what we call eclampsia. They develop fits. And once they develop fits, then that means their brain will be will have diminished sugar, sugars, glucose. The functionality will be poor. You find even the baby's health will also be affected. Yes,
yeah.
So they develop what we call eclampsia. Many a times we don't want a mother with preeclampsia, diagnosed already preeclampsia mother, to go up to the stage of eclampsia. If possible, when we see that the blood pressures are not well controlled, then you will be able to even deliver the baby early enough, so long as this child is able to survive.
I've seen some mothers dying.
Yeah.
After 28 weeks, 28 going to 36 weeks, they die.
Yeah.
Because when you ask why, she developed high blood pressure.
Yeah.
We were not able to manage her.
Yeah, sometimes if you develop this high blood pressure and you are not aware that she's developed high blood pressure, yes, that means the pressures will continue going up without control. Then she's bound to develop the eclampsia and now die.
So how do you control that?
So that's why I'm saying we ensure that they come early enough to the clinics, so that we are now able to control the blood pressures and ensure that they are down, manageable. Yes.
Okay. Talk about anemia in pregnancy. A mother with not enough blood.
Yeah, a mother with not enough blood. It could have occurred even before she conceived. Maybe she conceived with a low blood hemoglobin, very little blood before conception. But then after conception, you know, most women can develop anemia even in pregnancy. So many factors contribute to anemia in pregnancy. Most of them, you find that when they are pregnant, I said they go a lot of changes. Some of them, they even have problems with their diets. They will be picky on what they want to eat, foods that are not adding nutrition to their bodies. And remember, now she has a baby whom they are sharing the blood, they are sharing the nutrients. So if she eats things that are not going to boost her blood levels, then she's bound to develop anemia in pregnancy.
So what do you do?
So we start giving them drugs to boost their HB levels early enough, and we expect even to start giving them before conception, which I know most of in our culture, most women don't come to the hospital to tell you I want to go and conceive. They will come to you when they're already pregnant. So we are expecting them to come early enough. Even preconception, so that we are able to start them on a folic acid. A folic acid is something that will help them, even the babies grow, the neurons of the development of the baby, the early development of the baby. It will help them. And then we'll also, after conception, we'll now again continue the folic acid, but give them something also to help them boost their hemoglobin level. What we are calling the ferrous sulfate,
yes, yes, yes.
Or the FeFo. So we give them that so that it can boost their hemoglobin level. And also we advise them on a diet, on things that she can eat to ensure that they are getting they're getting enough blood and nutrients in their bodies. And then things that again can cause anemia even in pregnancy are worms. So we are deworming these women, because when you have worms, they are fighting for the blood, which you also need for yourself and for the baby. And now because of that high the high demand of the mother, if you are not well taken care of, they now develop the anemia, especially in pregnancy.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are two things I wanted us to look at before we close. Time is up. Let's just borrow some few minutes. The first one is prolonged labor. That's where patients end up having things like fistula. When you are a midwife, how do you prevent that?
Yeah, prolonged labor can come because of several issues. One, it can be because of the baby, which could be big, or the pathway, which could also be small, or the position of the baby. We are expecting that, or we say the baby should be, let me use the normal term, the head should come first. So if the position of the baby, the head is coming first, and the position it is presenting, it is presenting with a wider width, you have the measurements of the baby's head. So there is a part we are expecting to come first. But if that part is twisted a bit and it presents with a longer width, then you find that this baby, the mother can have a prolonged labor. And at times it can also be because of the powers. This woman can have no powers even to do what? To be able to push this baby out. So when we look at those factors, you need to find out what is it that is making this labor prolong. Is it the passage or the passenger, or is it the position, or is it the powers? Now, once you find the reason, then you put in interventions. At times you find that this, maybe because of the power, the woman has started pushing, and the pushing the baby out, and you find that she has no powers, then the baby stays in a certain position for a long period of time. It's bound to damage the renal, the urethra, where you are getting now the fistulas, or they will damage the anal, the rectum, where you will get also the anal fistula, because we have the two fistulas.
Yes.
And then they develop that in the process. And also, or if the position is not the right, and the woman is forcing now the baby out, even in that width that is long, she's now forcing this baby out. She's bound also to develop these fistulas. So for us to prevent that, we need to diagnose early. If it is a big baby, we need to diagnose early. If the pelvis is not adequate enough to allow this baby to pass, we need to diagnose early. What we are doing, what we are saying, we do a pelvic assessment to see whether this pelvis can be able to accommodate this baby and to pass out well. And if there is a problem, we are anticipating like a prolonged labor. That's why you see mostly we now refer and ensure that this mother delivers this baby through a cesarean section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's conclude by you talking about teen pregnancies.
Teen pregnancies.
Yes.
I would say that is now a crisis right now.
Okay.
We have so many teen pregnancies that are occurring now. Most of our teenagers are getting pregnant, either in schools, mostly in schools, they are getting pregnant. And there are so many factors that could be leading to the teen pregnancies. Our teens know a lot at an early age. We are also teaching them sexual education. Some of them are being influenced by the peers. Some of them they would want to experiment. Some of them are learning things online. They would want to experiment. And they also, at one time I would say, our parents are not also very close to our teens. When we are looking at our teenagers, we are like, these children, ni wasumbufu. They are defiant. So we don't have time also to sit down with our teenagers and guide them through this process. Remember, they are going through a lot of changes, a lot of storms, a lot of things that are going through them. And they will need parental guidance. But what is happening right now, we have now delegated our teens to our teachers. We have dedicated them to to their peers, where they are learning a lot. So we are seeing a lot of teen pregnancies that are now on the rise, which is also becoming a crisis in our country.
So as a
midwife,
yeah,
we would want that, one, we get these teens and take a lot of health education. We are taking this to the schools, where we are getting most of the teenagers. We are taking health education even to the churches. We are like, if you cannot protect yourself or abstain, we are talking about family planning. But we know the policies in family planning, they are now like, you need a consent from the parents. Now that's where the parent comes in, so that they can now protect the early pregnancies. If they cannot abstain, we need to protect the teens from getting pregnant. And we are also seeing even teens, again, they get pregnant, and even before they finish the schools, they are getting again pregnant.
So how do you manage that pregnancy as a midwife?
As a midwife, we will want them, actually we want the teens to sit aside. We take them through counseling processes. We take them through education. We handle them as teens, not like adults. We would want to have teen clubs, even in facilities. We are also initiating things like teen youth-friendly centers, so that the teens can come in. We talk to them. So when they get pregnant, we also ensure that we monitor them the way we are monitoring any other pregnant woman, but with the key to look at how is she progressing with this pregnancy. Is she able also to give birth in a normal way, or will she need any support? Monitor her through the pregnancy and be able to support her. Most of them, they have not fully developed, maybe their pelvics has not fully developed to allow them give birth in the normal process. Because if you allow them to give birth in the normal process and they have not fully developed, then they are bound to have some traumas or damages. So we can opt for another way of supporting them.
Oh, let's end here.
Thank you.
Our time is up.
Thank
you so much. You can talk so well.
Thank you.
No wonder you have patience.
Thank you.
This has been so informative. Learned a lot myself. It's been enlightening. With the Morning Scoop, this week we looked at those difficult things and big words we just done. Thank you so much for being there. I welcome you again to continue being with the West TV. Follow up on our subsequent programming, and then look forward for next week on Tuesday, where we'll have a different conversation with different guests. On behalf of the director of the show, Calvin Kibet, my name is CKS.
Thank you.